The weather outside is cooling down, but Worthen Arena is heating up with Mid-American Conference tournament implications on the line. The Eastern Michigan Eagles take on the Ball State Cardinals. Women's volleyball on ESPN3. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome inside Worthen Arena for this women's volleyball match between the Eastern Michigan Eagles and the Ball State Cardinals. And the Eastern Michigan Eagles come in desperate, needing 2 wins this weekend.
Eastern Michigan needs to win both of their matches this weekend and hope for Central Michigan to go 0-2 on the weekend. It's possible for the Eagles, but they're on the outside looking in, and they really need a lot of help.
Hello, everyone. I'm Corey Stace alongside my analyst, Noah Reed. And Noah, we should have a good one here tonight. Eastern Michigan and Ball State, they seem to always have these tough matches, and Steve Shondell even talked about it earlier this week.
The last time these two teams had a match was at Eastern Michigan earlier this year, and the Eagles really dominated the Cardinals in a 3-1 win. But inside Worthen Arena, the Ball State Cardinals are a lot more comfortable. They play a lot better, and I really expect Ball State to come out with a lot of firepower.
And the Ball State Cardinals are 9-1 here at Worthen Arena this season. Taking a look at players to watch. First for Eastern Michigan, Stacy Perinar. As you can see on the screen, 355 kills on the season. Maybe the even bigger number is that she ranks 14th nationally in attempts total. Taking a look over at the other side for the Ball State Cardinals, Amanda Raker, and she's really the player to watch simply because she's played so well over the last 4 matches, and last time she was at home in 2 matches, 18 kills, 1 error, and 20 attacks the last 2 matches she was at home.
When you really look at the comparison of these two, there's no doubt that Stacy Perinar has more of an effect for her team. She has over 3.5 kills per set, which ranks her second in the MAC. But Amanda Raker has really been the catalyst for this Ball State offense over the past few weeks, and that's really when the Cardinals have been playing their best ball leading into the MAC tournament.
And both of these teams need both of those players to play big tonight. Stacy Perinar needs to lead the Eagles over an upset over the Cardinals here tonight in Worthen Arena. Taking a look at what Steve Shondell, Amanda Raker, and Jenna Spadafora had to say about their opponent tonight earlier today.
Yeah, she's a great player. You just have to really get a tight block on her. You have to focus on her, know where she is all the time. Try to have people in position where she likes to hit the ball. But we're hoping the key is we got to get them out of system. If they're in system and they're hitting one-on-one, they are really, really good. So our serving game is going to be really important tonight to force them to pass the ball off the net, which will allow us to get 2 blockers on Stacy if all possible.
It's always good to be home. We're most comfortable here. We practice here every day. We love our fans, people that come out and support us. So I think it's always nice, and getting this last weekend at home to give us momentum into the tournament will be a really big advantage.
We're glad to be back. You know, we've had a great home season. I think we're 9-1, and Eastern beat us 3-1 about 5 weeks ago at Eastern, and they're really a tough team to play. It's a very balanced league this year, and Eastern's a very dangerous team. I have a lot of respect for not only their coaching staff but their team in general. And we're going to play really well tonight, but I always like playing a team that's beat us before. It gives you that extra motivation, and I think we're going to be ready to play tonight.
We're really excited just because we have done so well at home this season, to be back in front of our crowd, and it's senior weekend. We have 6 seniors, so I think there's just a lot of excitement and confidence to be back and heading into the tournament. There's a lot of good things going on.
And as you heard, Noah, some good things going on for the Cardinals, and really the most important is that they're back at home, 9-1 at home this season, opposed to Eastern Michigan, who is 3-7 at home this season.
Yeah, they have a lot to play for as far as confidence goes. They really can't bump themselves up as far as MAC standings go, but they can really play for a lot of confidence heading into the MAC tournament.
And taking a look at the starting lineups for tonight, actually tonight's officials are CJ McCabe-Rare and Elizabeth McHugh. Also the line judge Doug White and also Rob Walsman. And we've seen a lot of these guys before here in Worthen Arena. Starting lineups for tonight for Eastern Michigan: Devin Murray at an outside hitter position, Mallory Rajewski at the setter position, the redshirt freshman Dory Harrison, an outside hitter, Kelsey Jones, middle blocker, Katie Krasowski, middle blocker, and Stacy Perinar, outside hitter. At the libero position, really one of the best in the country is Corinne Smith, the senior out of Norwalk, Ohio. For the Cardinals, Mackenzie Kitchell, Alex Filling, Katie Vasilakis at the libero position, Amanda Raker at the middle blocker position, Jenna Spadafora, Kelly Hopkins, and Lauren Schreiner. And this is the same lineup that we saw last time the Ball State Cardinals were here in Worthen Arena.
And that was really when they started that run where they won 4 straight matches. They swept 4 straight conference opponents. And it's really a lot of consistency here for Steve Shondell heading towards the MAC tournament play.
Really, for the Ball State Cardinals, the only thing they're trying to do is get momentum for the Mid-American Conference tournament. As we talked about earlier, it's not much going on for the Ball State Cardinals tonight. They can drop to the 8th seed. They're currently in the 6th seed. But Eastern Michigan, everything on the line. They need 2 wins this weekend. And Alex Filling will have our first serve here in Worthen Arena. Perinar comes through the middle with the tip. And a back row attack violation on Stacy Perinar gives Ball State the first point of the match.
And that's good to see Ball State firing on all cylinders to come out, because like you mentioned, they really don't have a ton to play for as far as seeding goes, but they need to do a good job of making sure that they're being consistent heading towards the tournament.
Perinar again with the attack. Now Kitchell's a first tack down the line for the kill for the Cardinals to give them an early 2-0 lead.
Mackenzie Kitchell's coming off a performance last Saturday against Northern Illinois where she had 6 kills. So you can see her go straight down the line here, getting her first kill of the match.
Dory Harrison, the first non-player named Stacy Perinar to attack for Eastern Michigan, and there she goes again with the kill. Cross court to the Cardinals defense.
Harrison did a nice job sticking with it. She got blocked at the net by Hopkins on her first attempt. The ball came right back to her. She found right where the defense wasn't. She was able to go cross court with it and get it to go down.
Spadafora first set to Kelly Hopkins, and it's blocked at the net by Dory Harrison.
And that time Harrison returned the favor. It was Hopkins with the block on the first attempt, and then Hopkins went on the attack, and Harrison had the block. So Harrison starting out early on both the offensive and defensive sides.
Too much on the serve, and it goes beyond the back line for Mallory Rajewski, who's listed as a redshirt freshman on the roster for Eastern Michigan. She is the starting setter for this team, but really the redshirt came after a medical redshirt after a knee injury ended her season last year. Harrison on the right side again for Eastern Michigan. Back set to Filling. First quick hit of the night for Jenna Spadafora, and she ranks nationally, and she also gets the block on that point. Spadafora, really, when you look at her and you look at this Cardinals team, she's really the most impact player, and we talked about it, that she ranks nationally with 144 kills, and that is the 3rd most nationally out of any setter in the nation.
Well, she's been absolutely huge from the setter position. She was naturally an outside hitter, so she has a little bit of that attack mentality, and we see it quite a bit. She does a nice job at the net of being aware of where the defense is at, and she can put it over the net and try to find where the defense is not.
Spadafora right there showing off her ability to attack at the setter position and finding holes in the opponent's defense, and that's really what she's done all season. Kelsey Jones on the right side, attack error as it went wide right.
A lot of these are errors here for Eastern Michigan early, but I think it's because the Cardinal defense, they've had a lot of presence at the net. You have yet to see them just send one blocker to the net. It's been 2 and sometimes 3. They're sending multiple blockers to the net, and that's really forced the Eastern Michigan attackers to have to adjust on their attacks.
filling from the back row for the Cardinals. Periner's attack blocked at the net. Great defense from Ball State on this point. And into the net is Mackenzie Kitchell, who is trying to block the attack on the left side for the Cardinals. 6-3. And how important is it for this Ball State Cardinals team to get out to an early start that we've seen so far here in set number 1?
Well, it's huge. In the last home swing that the Cardinals had, they didn't do a very good job of getting on top early. They had to come from behind in all of their first sets. And here early for Ball State, you're seeing the exact opposite. And you're kind of hoping for Ball State's sake that that's more momentum heading towards the next few sets.
And you just saw Amanda Raker getting her first kill of the night. 1 for 1, and we'll definitely have to keep an eye out on that. As we mentioned earlier, she went 18 kills, 1 error on 20 attacks in her last 2 matches at home, and that is solid for a hitting percentage of .850.
Yeah, she was tremendous. She went 9 for 9 on a Friday night and then followed it up on Saturday, and she started 7 for 7. She had 16 kills on 16 attempts over a 2-match stretch and then end up having an error the very next time, but still a phenomenal performance when you get 18 kills on 20 attempts.
Perinar still unable to connect on an attack as she's had 4 on the night now, and her second error of the night gives the Cardinals the 4-point lead. Marissa Hine checking in for the first time for the Cardinals with her long service. Up through the middle, it's Mallory Rajewski.
And that's the problem when I talked about a little bit ago how Ball State was sending a lot of blockers to the net. That's really the problem when you do that, is because your back row then gets caught in a little bit of a trap, and there wasn't as many people back there, and Marissa Hine had to try to chase it down, but she was unable to make it over there.
Katie Krasowski on that last kill. Eastern Michigan continues to try to get it to Stacy Perinar. Now, double contact on Eastern Michigan gives Ball State the free point. Katie Vasilakis, the libero, back to serve for the Cardinals. A spot that she's cemented herself in for the Cardinals this season after last season. Alex Filling saw some time at the libero position. Alex Filling kind of transitioned, defensive specialist, outside hitter, libero last season. Katie Vasilakis has played every single set this season for the Cardinals at the libero position and just done a tremendous job.
Well, the thing is, you can't afford to have her off the floor very much if you're the Cardinals. She's somebody who in the back row is the most dependable person on this team. She has averages over 4.5 digs per set. She does a tremendous job in the back row of being able to dig up the attacks from the opposing team.
An attack on the right side by Cassie Hott, who checked into the game for Eastern Michigan, goes cross court. Unable to handle it in the back row for the Cardinals was Jessica Lindsay.
The last time that Eastern Michigan played Ball State, Cassie Hott went for 15 kills in that match, which is her career high.
Perinar serving for Eastern Michigan. Great dig from Vasilakis in the back row for the Cardinals. Another one. Finally put home from Katie Krasowski for the Eagles up in the middle. Really, the Ball State Cardinals were unable to get a solid attack on that point.
They were really back on their heels the entire time, playing more of a defensive game. We saw Katie Vasilakis have to dive after 2 digs, and when you're diving, you just don't have a very good chance to be able to try and get a good pass over to your setter, Jenna Spadafora.
And that service, unable to handle it, was Katie Vasilakis, and Stacy Perinar adds to her ace total this season, which is now reaching 18 for the year. Another one, 2 straight for Stacy Perinar. And that gives Eastern Michigan the 10-9 advantage as Steve Shondell wants to adjust his defensive schemes for the Ball State Cardinals and takes the timeout as Eastern Michigan all of a sudden, they were just trailing early in set number 1 and now lead by 1 Still early in set number 1, but we talked about how important it was for Ball State to get off to an early start. They did, but now Eastern Michigan crawling back in.
Well, there was just miscommunication the last 2 possessions there for Ball State. Nobody really called it out, and both times Perinar was able to get the ace, and now that gives her a team-high 19 on the season. And Ball State was up 9-5 at one point, but now down 5. A 5-0 run for Eastern Michigan makes it 10-9.
And here is college volleyball rules. As you can see, best 3 of 5 sets. And Ball State, the last 4 matches that they've been at home, it's been in 3 sets. Rally scoring now since 2001. Sets 1 through 4 will be played to 25 points, and as you can see, set number 5 to 15. And that's the first time out as well for Steve Shondell, as the players collectively coming back onto the floor here in Worthen Arena. Stacy Perinar, 2 straight aces before that timeout from Steve Shondell. And Steve Shondell, we've come to expect, really, that he makes great defensive and just overall changes during his timeouts, especially here in Worthen Arena, where it seems the Ball State Cardinals just play better overall. Alex Filling joust at the net. And Perinar gets her first attack to go through the Ball State defense and land out of bounds. Point Eastern Michigan. Stacy Perinar, 3 straight points for the Eagles off of 2 aces and 1 kill.
And that was really an unconventional kill. Usually you see her at the net attacking hard. That time was more of a back row attack and just put it past all the Ball State defenders.
Dory Harrison's attack tipped at the net. It did sail long, but they're going to say a Ball State defender got a hand on it to give the Eagles another point. 2 straight after a Steve Shondell timeout. And you look at the replay, looks like Jessica Lindsay for the Cardinals, number 8, was the one to get a hand on it. Spada for a cross set. Lindsay on the right side. Great dig in the back row from the Eagles. And Alex Filling gets her kill. Unable to reach it was Dory Harrison in the front of that left side of the Eastern Michigan defense.
And Corey, that was a really big point for the Ball State Cardinals. As you see, a good set from Jenna Spadafora, and it wasn't a hard attack from Alex Filling. She just found a spot where the defense wasn't for Eastern Michigan, but that stopped a 7-0 run for the Eagles, and it gets Ball State back with a little bit more momentum.
Lauren Schreiner serving for the Cardinals, one of the freshmen that has come on this season. As an into the net violation on the Cardinals gives the Eagles another point. Lauren Schreiner, a freshman on this team from New York, and at the start of MAC play, it really was the 3 freshmen, Emily Holland, Ellie Dunn, and Brooklyn Goodsell, who were producing for the Ball State Cardinals, but really Carly Capello and Lauren Schreiner have kind of taken that stage from them, the defensive specialists, because almost Steve Shondell has went away from his outside attackers. Ellie Dunn had an injury. She is back tonight, active. It'll be interesting to see how much she plays, though.
Yeah, it really has been a flip-flop. Like you said, it was those 3 at the beginning, but now it's more of Carly Capello and Lauren Schreiner, and those 2 were mainly just coming in to serve at the beginning of the season. They never really stayed in the back row to play much. It was more of a serve. But now here towards the end of the season, they've been coming in and playing through a rotation through the back row.
Alex Filling to serve after the service error. 14-11, Eastern Michigan with the lead. Kelly Hopkins' attack sails long. Looked like she tried to put it into a blocker's hand.
And that's been part of the Ball State's like Achilles heel this season so far, is unforced errors. Whether it's attacking or service, they kind of put themselves in a bind at times they don't need to. If they're just able to put it in play and make the defense have to respond and make a play, but there's times this season where they've failed to do that.
Kelly Hopkins has been known for errors this season for the Cardinals, both in serving and attacking from that middle blocker position. Alex Filling from the back row gets it through the hands of 2 defenders for Eastern Michigan. cuts the lead down for the Eagles.
And Alex Filling, that's really where she has a lot of her success attacking. Is she, at the beginning of the season, she was more of a front row player, attack hard at the net, but here as of late, she's more of a back row player. She still gets set up by Jenna Spadafora, but she attacks from the back row, and it's a different look for defenses, and they don't know how to handle it at times.
Service ace for Kelly Hopkins, her 14th of the year, and after we talked about her struggles with service errors, she proves that she has a good serve as well with the ace on that last point. Attack on the right side blocked by Mackenzie Kitchell at the net for the Cardinals.
We really haven't seen a whole lot from Mackenzie Kitchell here in the first set, but that's something that makes her so good. As we talked about her offense here in the past couple weeks, how she's been great on the offensive side, but she brings that too as far as blocking, averaging nearly a half of a block per set.
Perinar from the back row, you mentioned Kitchell. She has 6 kills or more in the last 6 matches for the Cardinals, and she actually won the MAC West Offensive Player of the Week 2 weeks ago after just great performances that she had back here at home. Where Ball State in their last homestand, they had 4 straight matches and they won all 4 of them, and it only took them 12 sets to do so. Amanda Raker just pushes it over the net into the hands of Kelsey Jones, and it drops down on the Eagles' side for the Ball State point. As you can see on the replay, Amanda Raker, it looked like it may have crawled back over on Ball State's side, but Raker wasn't having any of it and pushed it right back over to Jones. Perinar on the left side. Again, blocked at the net by Jessica Lindsay.
In the presence of the Ball State defense that time was incredible. There was 3 attacks from Eastern Michigan. All 3 were blocked at the net, and finally on that 3rd opportunity, Jessica Lindsay was able to block it down to the ground and get the point for Ball State to tie it up.
All tied at 16. Kitchell on the left side, a double block there for the Eagles. It was Devin Murray and Kelsey Jones there for Eastern Michigan.
You could almost see that coming the entire time. Mackenzie Kitchell, not much of a back row player. You see her at the net on the offensive and defensive sides trying to get attacks and blocks. That time she got caught back a little bit too far and tried to attack too far away.
Amanda Raker blocked at the net, a solo block for Katie Krasowski, the redshirt senior middle blocker. We mentioned earlier Mallory Rajewski was only redshirted last year as a redshirt freshman setter because of injury. That's the same situation for Katie Krasowski. She was redshirted all of her sophomore year for injury as well, which makes her a redshirt senior on this roster and one of the main blockers in the middle for Eastern Michigan. Timeout for Ball State once again as Eastern Michigan putting together a few points, 19-16. Eastern Michigan leads in set number 1 here in Worthen Arena, and you see Steve Shondell talking to his team. How important is it to win set number 1 if you're the Ball State Cardinals or if you're Eastern Michigan with your backs up against the wall?
Well, for either team, of course, it's huge. It gives you more of a momentum heading into the last couple sets. And last time Ball State had a homestand a couple weeks ago, we talked about it. They came from behind. They were able to win set number 1. Both of them, they were down early, able to come back, and they did a nice job of getting themselves more momentum.
And you take a look at the MAC West Division standings. We talked about Eastern Michigan. They sit at 4-10. Central Michigan, on the other hand, those are the 2 fringe teams. Ball State has already sealed a spot in the Mid-American Conference Tournament. Central Michigan at 6-8. If Central Michigan were to lose tonight, they play at Toledo, who you see on the bottom of your screen, at 2-12 in Mid-American Conference play. If Central Michigan were to lose at Toledo, they would drop to 6-9. If Eastern Michigan were to win tonight, they would go and play at Toledo. Eastern Michigan needs both of these wins, and Central Michigan would have to lose at Toledo and at Worthen Arena here tomorrow night against the Cardinals, which really the more important match for the Cardinals is tomorrow in terms of seeding also for the Mid-American Conference Tournament.
And Corey, we talked about in the pregame is Eastern Michigan is really on the outside looking in, but if they're able to win tonight and if Central Michigan drops tomorrow, then it quickly changes and Eastern Michigan becomes the team that is kind of favored because they go and play a Toledo team that's only won 2 conference games, and Central Michigan would have to come into Ball State, and we know how good the Cardinals are inside Worthen Arena.
Eastern Michigan, though, definitely does not control their own destiny, as the term has become, as Amanda Raker on the right side did sail wide left, but it went into the hands of the blocker at the net for the Eagles for the Cardinals' point.
We talked about Raker being our player to watch for Ball State, and she's got a lot of attacks. She now leads the team with 3 kills already here in the first set.
Attack from the middle, sails long. Katie Krasowski trying to put it into the hands of a Cardinals blocker. Bailey Bomber back to serve. Perinar on the left side, dug out by Bailey Bomber in the back row. This time cannot be dug out, and Krasowski gets another kill to her total tonight for Eastern Michigan, as she now has 4 kills.
Krasowski only averages about 1.5 kills per set. So Eastern Michigan's really gone to her here early on in set number 1, and it's not somebody that Ball State really has a target on being a top attacker for Eastern Michigan, but she's come to play early.
Alex Filling into the hands of the 2 blockers for Eastern Michigan, and it travels out of bounds for the Cardinals' point. Ball State collecting some points together to try to win set number 1 here in Worthen Arena. Great attack on the right side by Cassie Hott. Her first attack of the night, rather her second, and second kill as well. Perinar, long serve for the Eagles. Filling's attack sails long. Tried to go down the line.
That attack from Filling was by far the hardest attack we've seen all night. She just put a little bit too much on it, and it sailed just past the out-of-bounds line.
Jessica Lindsay in the middle.
Corey Stace over here on press row, calling the game and catching the balls flying over at him.
I do what I can. 23-20, Ball State needs at least 5 points to get back into set number 1. This attack on the right side by Krasowski hit the antenna. Out of bounds, and an attack error gives the Cardinals the point and cuts the Eagles' lead to 2.
Cardinals are in really good shape right now, trailing by 2. They've made a little bit of a comeback, and they have Schreiner, who's one of their best servers on the team, up right now.
Hot, great attack on the right side into the hands of the blockers for the Cardinals. Off of the hands of Alex Filling, the outside hitter. Kelly Hopkins' attack on the right side. We haven't seen her featured much for the Cardinals in the offense so far. Miscommunication gives the Eastern Michigan Eagles the point. Back row, miscommunication between Lauren Schreiner and Katie Vasilakis, but Eastern Michigan wins set number 1, 25-21. We'll have set number 2 action for you here in Worthen Arena. When we come back, the Eastern Michigan Eagles lead the Cardinals 1-0 through the match.
Because we are modest, they think we can't be unforgiving. Because we're known for our manners, they think we can't reign supreme. Because we're not fueled by the spotlight, they think we won't steal it. Because we work out on the frozen tundra, they think we won't bring the heat. You know what we say? Nothing at all. Here on our turf, on our field, we keep our heads down and our eyes up. And no matter what we face, we answer with sweat. Because action speaks louder than words.
No matter how stressful my day is, and to see her smile, because you know that's the purest of happiness.
You gotta get touchdowns, right? Throw, catch, ball security.
You can't let your guard down because your opponent is good, that we have on our schedule.
Back here in Worthen Arena, getting ready for set number 2. After set number 1, the Ball State Cardinals, unaccustomed, but Eastern Michigan won set number 1, 25-21. That's the first set here in Worthen Arena that the Ball State Cardinals have lost in weeks.
And I think the thing that really sticks out to me, Corey, is when you look at the attacking, Ball State had nearly as many errors as they did kills. 6 errors to 9 kills. And we've talked about all season long, Ball State does a nice job. Jenna Spadafora, specifically the setter, does a nice job of spreading it around, making sure that it's a balanced attack, making sure the opponents can't just focus on one attacker. Whereas tonight you have Alex Filling and Amanda Raker with 3 kills, but nobody else has more than 1. So if you're the defense of Eastern Michigan, you look at Filling and Raker and you're able to kind of key in on both of them.
Taking a look at set number 1 highlights. Eastern Michigan with the most of them as they came away with the 25-21 win. The Cardinals battled back. They got up to an early lead. Eastern Michigan came back. The Cardinals battled back, and then Eastern Michigan was able to close it out in the end. Getting set for set number 2 here in Worthen Arena as the players back out on the court for both the Cardinals and the Eagles. And the Eagles will be serving first here in set number 2. It will be Alyssa Davis. She is listed as a setter on the roster, and you take a look out on the floor, and Mallory Rajeski is not on it. So Alyssa Davis in at the setter position for Eastern Michigan, even after they won 25-21. Now an attack on the left side. Perinar just pushes it to the right side. Not able to reach it was Katie Vasilakis, the libero. Interesting move to switch setters after you win set number 1.
Well, that's what makes Eastern Michigan so interesting is they have 2 setters and they use them both throughout each match. And Alyssa Davis has nearly 400 assists on the season. Mallory Rajeski has almost 700. So when you have 2 setters that have nearly 400 kills or 400 assists apiece, it makes it hard for the opponent to know what's coming.
And we have seen this tactic here before for at least the Ball State Cardinals have here in Worthen Arena. The past few opponents have actually, even a couple times, the opponents have switched setters just every rotation. Interesting to see because for the Ball State Cardinals, they're accustomed to just having Jenna Spadafora out on the floor every single point. She's played every set this season, as well as the libero, Katie Vasilakis, has. Great save by Lauren Schreiner and Jenna Spadafora. Filling from the back row. That was Cassie Hott on the right side. Down the line for the kill. 3-1, Eastern Michigan out to the early set number 2 lead.
It's already the 4th kill of the match for Cassie Hott. She's coming off a performance where she had 7 kills against Kent State last week, and we already mentioned earlier her career high was 15 against this Ball State team just earlier this season.
Cassie Hott attack again on the right side, blocked. Great touch on the right side by Katie Krasowski in the middle. barely creeped it over the net. It hit the top and crawled over. As you see the block from Kitchell earlier in the point, but here's that great touch and drop down inbounds. And Eastern Michigan comes back with a service error. Stacy Perinar. We've seen that in set number 1 as well. 4-2, Eastern Michigan with the 2-point advantage here in set number 2. Great attack by Katie Krasowski in the middle. We talked about all open Perinar being the main attacker for this Eastern Michigan team, but it seems that Katie Krasowski has found a rhythm in the middle for the Eagles. Raker's attack on the right side sails too far left. And Amanda Raker already has 2 errors on the night, so we were here and we saw the performance she had 2 weeks ago where she went 18 kills, 1 error on 20 attacks for the 2 matches over that 2-weekend ago period. But now, tonight, already has 2 errors. Great defense by both teams on this play. Spatafora on the block, cannot cover it as it went back on Eagles' side. 7-2, Eastern Michigan out to an early 5-point lead in set number 2. And we've seen the MAC West Division standings. Ball State 7-7, Eastern Michigan 4-10. The numbers would say that Ball State is the team to come out of here with the victory tonight in Worthen Arena, but we've mentioned it all the time leading up to this game. We've been talking about it. The Eastern Michigan, they're playing for something. Ball State, it seems like they don't really have much to play for tonight, and Eastern Michigan looks like a desperate team so far in this match.
Yeah, Corey, you nailed it right on the head, as Eastern Michigan has to win these 2. They don't control their own destiny. If they want to make it to the MAC tournament, not only do they need to win both of their matches this weekend, but they also need help. Whereas if you're Ball State, you've already locked up a spot in the MAC tournament. You're the 6th seed. You can't boost yourself any more higher than the 6th seed, so it would be easy to be complacent. I'm sure head coach Steve Shondell has talked to them about not doing that, but if you're Ball State, you can see how they would come into this weekend and be a little bit complacent with this weekend.
Kitchell in the middle for Ball State. Now on the block. Great defense at the net for Ball State, and great touch by Mackenzie Kitchell to put it in the back left corner of the Eagles' side.
Kitchell took a page out of Jenna Spatafora's book right there with just a quick tap over the net, finding a spot in the back corner where the defense wasn't there, and she was able to get it down.
Up through the middle was Devin Murray, and it lands on the very back left corner of the Cardinals' side. It looked like Bailey Baumer and Katie Vasilakis were going to let it go, and they did, but it landed in bounds. Back to serve is Dory Harrison now. Filling's attack on the left side goes down the line for the Cardinals' kill. She played well against Western Michigan last weekend on a Friday. She had 15 kills in that 5-set match. She followed that performance up with 6 kills with 5 errors on a team-high 29 attacks against Northern Illinois, and that was a 3-set loss for the Cardinals. Another point for Eastern as miscommunication for the Cardinals gives them a 5-point advantage here in set number 2. And Noah, you saw the team from 2 weeks ago where the Ball State Cardinals in their last homestand won 4 straight in 12 sets here in Worthen Arena. What do you picture the difference is here tonight?
I think the biggest thing is errors. This is a Ball State team who all season long has kind of had trouble with some errors, but then in that stretch, that 4-match stretch where they were able to sweep 4 straight opponents, they just did a great job of putting the ball in play, making the other team's defense have to return their balls and stuff like that, and they did a nice job, whereas here, they're having trouble with service errors, blocking errors, attacking errors. There are just too many unforced errors for the Cardinals.
Great dig on that last play by Vasilakis, but not able to follow it up with Jim Spadafora as Alex Filling puts the attack into the blocker's hands. And it then reaches out of bounds for the Cardinals' point. Devin Murray on the right side. Great attack off the hand of Kelly Hopkins. 12-6, Eastern Michigan finds themselves ahead by 6 here in set number 2. And a team that came in desperate for 2 wins this weekend is starting it off right through the first 2 sets. The Ball State Cardinals, we've mentioned, they have more to play for tomorrow against Central Michigan here in Worthen Arena, because Central Michigan right now in the MAC standings is at 6-8. And if the Ball State Cardinals were to win tomorrow, they can still get the 6th seed that they're slotted in for right now, as Steve Shondell takes the timeout for the Ball State Cardinals. 13-6, Eastern Michigan leads by 7. Steve Shondell, what do you say to a team like this that's struggling a little bit in the Ball State Cardinals?
Well, Ball State's getting a little bit of a taste of their own medicine right now. We've talked about how balanced they are when it comes to attacking. They get a lot of attackers involved. Ball State not doing that tonight, whereas Eastern Michigan has 6 players who have at least 5 kills in tonight's match already, and we're only halfway through set number 2. So it's a nice job of Eastern Michigan getting the balance, getting everybody involved. And if you're head coach Steve Shondell, you got to tell them that they've got to be able to see that there's more of a balance. You can't attack just one person. It's more of a balanced team effort.
And you see Amanda Raker there in the huddle for the Cardinals. And look at this. I don't know if I've ever heard a story quite like this. She went to play Butler basketball from 2011 to 2013. And you see there, she wasn't bad. She played in 60 games, started 24 for that Butler Bulldogs team, and then switched over to volleyball and transferred to Ball State to play volleyball, and has been very successful this season in her senior year.
Sometimes you see that with players that, like you said, they don't have a lot of success in one sport, so they move to a second sport because they were so good in 2 or 3 different sports in high school that they can play at a high level in both sports. But she had 24 starts in 60 games for Butler basketball, so it's surprising to see you'd make that switch after having so much success.
All Eastern Michigan in set number 2 as Katie Krasowski gets the block at the net. For a quick hit over, and occasionally for the Ball State Cardinals, you will see Jenna Spadafora, if the Cardinals are struggling, she will try to take over on the offensive end, even at that setter position.
And I don't think we've seen her do enough of that tonight. And when Ball State's at their best is when she's doing things like that. We talked about it in high school. She was an outside hitter. She had to transition into being a setter in college. So she's got that attack mentality, and we just haven't seen enough. That's only her 2nd kill here tonight.
Kelly Hopkins in the middle. The Cardinals definitely don't count them out. We've seen great comebacks here in Worthen Arena this season. We even saw them come back from 2 sets down in early matches in the year.
I was just going to say, just last weekend at Western Michigan on Friday night, they got behind 2-0. They were able to come back, tie it up at 2-2, and force a 5th set before eventually falling to the Broncos.
You saw Alex Filling's stats there. Leads the team in kills per set through the season with 2.54. Mackenzie Kitchell's block at the net. The Cardinals collecting some points together to come back on this Eagles team. Alex Filling, a transfer from Morehead State. After 1 year, she made 12 starts at Morehead State her freshman year for the women's volleyball team. Transferred to Ball State, and she's had great success in her career here as well.
Not only a lot of success at Morehead State and then here at Ball State, but she went to Belmont High School in Decatur, Indiana, where she won 2 state titles. And in her 4-year career there, her high school went 130-20. Talking about bringing a winning culture here to Ball State.
And Belmont High School, not too far away from Ball State, so coming home after going to Morehead State out of high school. 16-9 as Periner's serve has really troubled the Cardinals so far in this match. Seems to always be miscommunication in the back row when Periner is serving for the Eagles. This time on the attack on the right side, it's Cassie Haught. And the Eagles stringing some points back together to give themselves an 8-point cushion.
This is just something Cardinal fans aren't used to seeing, especially here inside Worthen Arena. They're very comfortable. They play so well. They feed off of the energy here in Worthen Arena. After falling in a close one in set number 1, you figured Ball State would pick it up a little bit, but here it's been all Eastern Michigan, 17-9.
And I doubt Eastern Michigan is paying any attention to the Central Michigan-Toledo game over at Toledo, Ohio, but they're taking care of business here in Worthen Arena, and Toledo has a 1-0 advantage in Toledo, Ohio, and that's exactly what they need. Eastern Michigan needs to win here tonight. They need Toledo to upset Central Michigan at Toledo, and then they need the Ball State Cardinals to go and beat Central Michigan tomorrow here in Worthen Arena. And they would also need to win at Toledo tomorrow night.
And Corey, that's just shocking to me because at this point in the season, Toledo has nothing to play for. They're 2-12 in the conference, 5-22 on the season, whereas Central Michigan has a chance to make the MAC tournament, and right now they're just not playing very well.
Great defensive effort, all point for the Cardinals, but it's ended as Emily Holland couldn't quite get her attack over the net. Also miscommunication between Spadafora and Holland to get the attack off. You see Steve Shondell going to Emily Holland at that middle blocker position. Subbing out Kelly Hopkins, also Amanda Raker, as she's checking in now for Emily Holland. Rather, Katie Vasilakis, as Holland will head back to serve.
And for the Cardinals now, this is a huge opportunity to go on a big run. When you look at who you have in the game right now for Jenna Spadafora, you have your 3 top attackers.
And there you take a look at Kimmy Olson, the head coach for Eastern Michigan. As you see, Eastern Michigan trying to win here tonight and get into the tournament. Kimmy Olson has some tournament experience. She was a player at USC. A setter from 2003 to 2006.
She was part of a 35-0 national championship team her freshman year at USC, and in her 4-year career as a Trojan, she went 102-22.
Kitchell on the left side, her attack blocked at the net, but it travels out of bounds for the, rather it hit on the line on Ball State's side for the Eastern Michigan point, and Steve Shondell takes another timeout for the Cardinals. 21-10, Eastern Michigan leads by 11 heading into this timeout. In Eastern Michigan, it's been all Eagles here in Worthen Arena tonight, and you've talked about it, just not used to seeing it are these Worthen Arena fans. And Jenna Spadafora, as you see there, she has to be shocked as well for the Cardinals. And you see the Ball State tournament scenarios. They are locked in to the Mid-American Conference tournament. Right now, they are currently the 6th seed. The top 8 teams make the Mid-American Conference tournament, which starts next Thursday. And that first round next Thursday will be the 5 seed against the 8 seed and the 6 seed against the 7 seed. So right now, the Ball State Cardinals would play Central Michigan if the season were to end today, but obviously it could get mixed up from here on out if Ball State loses tonight and maybe even Central Michigan loses as well.
That's what would make tomorrow's match even that much more important for Ball State and Central Michigan. If the Chippewas are able to come back and beat Toledo tonight, it would be a 6-7 matchup between Ball State and Central Michigan. They get a little bit of preview of each other tomorrow before going to Athens and playing each other again in the tournament.
Katie Krasowski, the middle blocker, back to serve for the Eagles. Back set to Raker. Her attack out of bounds. She sends it long. We'll often see that from Amanda Raker this season. She tries to put it into the hands of the opponent's blockers, and it looks like Eastern Michigan has scouted her well to know that occasionally she'll send a ball long if the blocker is able to get their hands out of the way. As the service error now by Eastern Michigan gives Ball State another opportunity to come back from this 11-point deficit. Cassie Hott in the middle, blocked at the net and travels out of bounds. Jenna Spadafora, the Cardinals setter, unable to reach it on the right side.
Ball State's doing a nice job of sending defenders up to the net, especially they get 2 and 3 blockers at the net, but it just hits off their hands wrong, and Eastern Michigan ends up getting the point. And we see that they're going on a run right now.
Cross-court set to Lindsay. Corinne Smith bump set on that play. And Mallory Rajeski, who is back in at the setter position for Eastern Michigan, unable to collect it after the block at the net for the Cardinals.
And Ball State really got fortunate there because they did a nice job of blocking at the net, but that ball would have went out of bounds, but Rajeski dove for it, and she ended up hitting it out of bounds, so it could be set point here for Eastern Michigan.
Another attack down the line for the kill. 24-12, set point for Eastern Michigan here in set number 2. And the Cardinals looking stunned right now as Eastern Michigan has 12 set points to take a 2-0 lead in this match. Perriner on the left side, dug out by Vasilakis. Filling again on the left side for the Cardinals. Great back and forth by both teams here. Perriner goes with the finesse attack on the left side, and she drops it down on Ball State's territory. 25-12, the Eastern Michigan Eagles take set number 2. And they lead 2-0 as the Eastern Michigan fans in attendance tonight love it. Eastern Michigan leading Ball State here in Worthen Arena 2-0. We'll be back for some halftime analysis after this.
No matter how stressful my day is, and to see her smile, because you know that's the purest of happiness.
Right? Throw, catch, ball security.
You can't let your guard down because your opponent is good, that we have on our schedule.
The Mid-American Conference. We come from many places. We're as different as the games that we champion. But behind every great play, beneath every uniform, lies something even greater. Because the real goal is building better people. The Mid-American Conference. Sportsmanship for life since 1946.
Welcome back to Worthen Arena here as the Ball State Cardinals drop the first 2 sets to the Eastern Michigan Eagles. And the Eastern Michigan Eagles, a desperate team tonight as they are looking for 2 wins this weekend. Hello, everyone. Once again, I'm Corey Stace alongside my analyst, Noah Reed. And really, Noah, it's a bit of surprise seeing Eastern Michigan come out with such fire in those first 2 sets.
And Ball State's really struggled as far as being able to defend the attackers of Eastern Michigan. Eastern Michigan has 5 people with at least 5 kills, whereas Ball State only has 1 person. So we talked about the balance of Ball State all season long. It's been a reverse of the script, and Eastern Michigan has done a nice job of arranging it around, getting everybody involved.
And one of those players for Eastern Michigan is Katie Krasowski that has really been playing well as Stacey Perinar, their star for this team.
Yeah, she's had 8 kills early on here in the first 2 sets. She's been phenomenal, and she's really been the go-to person for Eastern Michigan here against Ball State.
And men's basketball is also in action tonight. That is at Bradley. Connor Onion and Mitch Robinson have the call on WCRD 91.3. Here's a look at 2 new faces on that men's basketball team, Nate Wells and Ryan Weber.
The addition of Indianapolis native and former Roncalli High School star Ryan Weber, the Cardinals have a much more experienced team on the floor.
I talked with my dad a lot, talked to my parents. You only get one chance to play college athletics, and when I transferred, Coach Whitford got on me early, and we clicked from day one. We kind of shared the same vision. Mine and his relationship kind of is what drew me to Ball State.
Ryan and Taylor are still ahead too early, Ryan. You don't go until the point guard catches it. Okay. All right.
Ryan really took advantage of his sit-out year. You know, he gained 20 pounds of muscle. He increased his vertical by several inches. He's faster, he's bigger, he's stronger. He's really gotten better. He's also a smarter player on the court.
Give me, Vic. Here we go. Girl.
It's kind of a selfish year for me to work on myself, work on my game.
Back green.
I can do a lot more, play more inside, kind of fill gaps wherever we need it. So it definitely helped me a lot last year.
What he deals with now that he doesn't deal with in the sit-out year is the pressures of performing in lights. You know, he's now competing for playing time. He's now dealing with the realization that pretty soon he's going to be on the court and deal with the ups and downs that go throughout a game. What we need Ryan to do is to become more of a consistent player where we're getting the same Ryan every single day, and that's really the challenge. But when Ryan is at his best, in my opinion, he's an all-conference caliber player.
I've just been so excited that I actually get to play that I don't know what to expect, really. Just want to go out and play my hardest and really just want to win. That's the reason I came here. I saw Coach's vision on how we're going to win, and I've been sticking to it and trying to follow through on it.
An immediate impact this season on the court is 7'1" transfer Nate Wells. Wells spent 4 seasons at Bradley, where he emerged as the team's starting center.
I chose Ball State for my final year because they had what I needed for my master's program. Bradley didn't have what I wanted, and I wanted something that would complement my undergrad really well. I undergrad my degrees in advertising, and so I wanted to pursue a master's in public relations. So Ball State had what I wanted. You know, you're going to have some minor bumps and stuff in the beginning, but then start to smooth out a little bit and getting used to the program and the requirements that what it is to be a Ball State basketball player.
Nate's experience at Bradley is really valuable in his transfer here because he has a short window to catch up to speed. When you're a 5th-year transfer, you're only here for 1 year. And so the fact that he's played in different systems, that he understands how to work at a college level, allows him to get up to speed much quicker than he would if he were either a high school transfer or a junior college transfer.
I think through my experience, I have more sense of calm than I have throughout any year I've been here, because I kind of know what to expect in upcoming seasons or how games are. I've been in front of large crowds, and that stuff does not bother me anymore. Personal goal is to help our team get a MAC championship, and I just want to have this be the best year of my college career, and not only for myself, but be on the best team I can be on.
Size really impacts the game, especially on the defensive end, is where it's critical. You know, you have to have guys that can protect the rim. 1A is defending the three-point line, but that's truthfully secondary to guys that teams that can't protect the rim. That's something we knew we had to get a lot better at, and we have 3 big additions: Nate Wells, Trey Moses, and Taj AT, and they certainly added a lot of size for us around the rim.
We have a lot of guys here that compete on everything. Not necessarily like on the court, of course, but off the court. We'll do something called competitions in the weight room. And that's pretty fun because someone will say, "Oh, I can run a mile faster than you," and one person's like, "No, you can't." And then everyone starts saying, "Competition, competition," and then we have to do a competition so you can run the faster mile. It's stuff like that where you really know there's a competitive atmosphere around here, which I really enjoy.
And as the clock ran down, I sank the jumper.
And took the big trophy home.
And Aunt Jane.
I guess I did all right. But look at them. Great old coaches, Hall of Famers.
And Dad ran in the Olympic trials.
Your cousin played in the Sweet 16. And how about the College World Series?
That was awesome. If only I
can. You both can. I'm already proud of you. Now, who gets these?
Me!
The Mid-American Conference. Generations of champions since 1946.
Welcome back inside Worthen Arena as the Eastern Michigan Eagles lead the Ball State Cardinals 2-0 here in the match. Taking a look at the stats after the first 2 sets. Anything stick out to you, Noah?
The biggest thing for me is you look at the very bottom line, the hitting percentage. Ball State 0.65, whereas Eastern Michigan's hitting nearly 300. A nice job. They've spread it around. They've had some balance. 34 kills to only 16 for Ball State, and that's really been the biggest story and what the difference is between Eastern Michigan being up 2-0 on Ball State.
And really, it's just been all Eastern Michigan, as you can see, taking a look at the first 2 sets. The highlights, Devin Murray getting the kill early. The Ball State Cardinals had some moments in set number 1 that they played very well and looked like they almost were going to come out with it. Alex Filling played well, good on the defensive side at times, but really it was just Eastern Michigan who overpowered the Cardinals in the end and ended up dominating the Cardinals in the second set, 25-12. Jenna Spadafora had some assists in the first set, but really just wasn't herself overall.
No, Corey, she really wasn't herself, and you can tell only 2 kills. She's more of an attacking setter, and then even when you look at her assists, only 12 assists through the first 2 sets. She's somebody who averages almost 10 assists per set, and in here today, it's only 6 per set. So she's really struggled trying to find a rhythm here early on.
And Stacy Perinar and the Eastern Michigan Eagles getting set for set number 2, and you saw some disappointed faces as well for the Cardinals in those highlights, and that was a complication of all the errors that they had through the first 2 sets. Only 1 service error, but 12 attacking errors to only 16 kills. Alex Filling starting off set number 3 for the Cardinals. Katie Krasowski, tip on the right side. Hopkins puts it right back over to Eastern side, but now it's Katie Krasowski once again, the middle blocker, right in the middle, put it on Ball State's side. It hit Kelly Hopkins and rolled out of bounds.
Ball State really never had an attacking opportunity at all in that possession. They did a nice job on defense, sending blockers to the net, rejecting at the net, but Eastern Michigan had 4 opportunities there for a kill, and they finally came away with 1 at the end.
Vasilakis, a bad pass off the serve, and it results in a Mackenzie Kitchell attacking error, as she had to attack further away from the net than I'm sure she preferred. 2-0, the Eastern Michigan Eagles lead in set number 2. Alyssa Davis back into set for Eastern Michigan. She's the number 2 setter on this Eagles team. Mallory Rajeski, the number 1 setter, and Eastern Michigan starting off set number 3 where they left off from the first 2 sets.
And I don't really think Ball State's doing much wrong early on here in set number 3. They do a good job of putting blockers at the net. It's just it's coming off their hands wrong, and it's able to go down for an Eastern Michigan point.
Kelly Hopkins on the right side, down the line and out of bounds. Long and maybe even a little to the right. Looked like it was close, though, to hitting that back right corner.
There's a good placement there for Kelly Hopkins. She knew where she wanted to go with it. She put it in the right spot, but it was just a little bit outside, and that's now 3 of the 4 Eastern Michigan points have come off of Ball State errors.
And that's been the story so far tonight for the Cardinals. Something they need to fix if they want to get back into this match, as Jenna Spadafora, a quick hit over with the right hand. We'll often see her touch that back to the Cardinals side to get an attack off. But this time just goes straight for the quick hit, as she had to reach over the net a little bit to get it over on Eastern Michigan's side.
And that's really what makes Spadafora so valuable as a setter for this Ball State team, is because she knows when to set the ball, and she knows, she's aware of where the defense is at, and she's able to put it where they're not.
Kelly Hopkins, a service error, gives Eastern Michigan the 4-point lead. Stacy Perinar, Ball State has had trouble collecting her serve all night. And that time, Eastern Michigan's defense unable to scramble for the ball. Alyssa Davis was the last one to touch it for the Eagles. Jenna Spadafora may be looking to give some life to the Cardinals, back serving now, as she leads this team in service aces, 22 coming into tonight. And that was just miscommunication in the back row. Perinar hit it up. Not too bad of a pass, but no one collected it after that.
Very interesting lineup right now for head coach Steve Shondell. He's still got Mackenzie Kitchell, who's one of the best attackers on this team in the game, but the rest of the front row is Jessica Lindsay and then Meg Starling, who's getting her first action of the match tonight.
And Lauren Schreiner is wearing the libero jersey. She would be considered the backup libero for this Cardinals team, but Katie Vasilakis has played every set. Steve Shondell obviously looking for a change here in set number 3 from this Cardinals roster. And now a attack by Jessica Lindsay on the right side was tipped at the net, which results in a Cardinals point. What's your thoughts on Lauren Schreiner moving into the libero position for the Cardinals?
That's really something we haven't seen much at all this season, especially over the last few weeks. It's been Katie Vasilakis, and it's because of how well she plays. She's so dependable in the back row, but we'll get to see what Lauren Schreiner can do in the back row, because they're going to need her at that libero position next year.
Exactly what I was going to say, possibly the libero of the future, as Jessica Lindsay, another kill on the right side for the Cardinals, ties this set number 3 up at 5.
Nice job by the Ball State defense, sending 2 blockers there. Jessica Lindsay with the solo block.
Kozowski's tip to no avail. Perinar just pushes it over for Eastern Michigan. Filling's attack, hard to cover it was Perinar, and now a scramble for it, and Perinar is going to send it wide right out of bounds on Cardinals side, even though it looked like they were possibly going to scramble to make a great defensive effort on that play.
A really good run here for Ball State. Did a nice job. They got behind early on again like they did in the previous 2 sets, but then a nice job of coming back, and now they have a 6-5 lead.
Joust at the net, and Alyssa Davis. Violation at the net. She reached over for Eastern Michigan, which gives Ball State the point. And Kimmy Olsen, the first-year head coach for Eastern Michigan, takes the timeout as the Ball State Cardinals, 5 straight points, give them a 7-5 lead in set number 1. And Steve Shondell, at the start of that set number 3, it didn't pay off as much, but now it seems the Cardinals are playing better with those lineup changes. As you take a look at the Mid-American Conference standings, Eastern Michigan leads 2-0 here tonight in Worthen Arena, although Ball State leads in set number 3. Eastern Michigan needs these 2 wins to get into the Mid-American Conference tournament. Central Michigan, last time we checked in on them, they were trailing at Toledo, and that's exactly what Eastern Michigan would need, is a loss from Central Michigan tonight.
And tonight, really, there's a huge part. We just saw on that screen that yellow line can do a lot of changing between Central Michigan and Eastern Michigan. Central Michigan really controls their own fate. Right now, though, they're tied 1-1 with Toledo. They did come back and win the second set against the Rockets, so Central Michigan still controls their own destiny, but if they fall to Toledo tonight and Eastern Michigan is able to come away with this win against Ball State, then it flips and Eastern Michigan is the team that controls their own destiny.
That match is at Toledo, and the big story of set number 3 is Lauren Schreiner, as you see there, checking in at the libero position for the Ball State Cardinals. Taking Katie Vasilakis, the senior for the Cardinals, out of the game. Corinne Smith just has to send a free ball over for Eastern Michigan. Kitchell's attack blocked at the net. Again, it's Kitchell. Not many attacks seen here. Looked like that tack may have been traveling out of bounds, but Corinne Smith saves Meg Starling and is unable to dig it out on the left side, and Meg Starling will be rewarded for the kill.
I wouldn't be surprised if Jenna Spadafora starts going to Meg Starling more and more, standing in at 6'6". Nobody on the Eastern Michigan roster is near tall enough to try and defend her. You could see Spadafora go to her more and try to get more attacks from Starling.
Meg Starling, someone we thought may even see more action this season, as Cassie Haught gets the kill on the right side. A redshirt freshman on this team is Starling, and with the loss of Haley Benson from last year, transferred to Long Beach State, you thought Meg Starling was possibly the answer at that middle blocker position, standing at 6'6". She redshirted last season, and there gets another kill for the Cardinals.
We really did think that Meg Starling was kind of going to take over that middle blocker position, but as well as Amanda Raker has played this season, especially over the last few weeks, she's really cemented herself into that middle blocker position.
Not a ton of power from Starling, but has enough touch to get the kill. An attacking error into the net, rather, for the Eagles, as they are also making some lineup changes, as Jordan Smith, the outside hitter, freshman from Iowa, is in for the first time today for Eastern Michigan. 9-7. Rather, that into the net was on the Ball State Cardinals on the last point. 9-7, Eastern Michigan cut the Cardinals' lead to 2. A bad pass from the Cardinals' side is an easy put down for Kelsey Jones, the middle blocker for Eastern Michigan, standing at 6'1".
You talked about Jordan Smith coming in for the first time today for Eastern Michigan. It kind of surprises me we haven't seen her much before this, because the time that Ball State and Eastern Michigan met up earlier this season, Jordan Smith went for a career-high 17 kills and a near double-double with 8 digs.
Alex Filling on that attack for the Cardinals on the left side. As you said, Jordan Smith, great performance last time she played the Cardinals, 17 kills, and she also was the 3A class player of the year for the state of Iowa coming out of high school. Another kill for Filling on the left side for the Cardinals as they find themselves with a 3-point cushion. Lauren Schreiner back to serve for the Cardinals. Jeske back in at that setter position for Eastern Michigan. Continue to go to Filling, does the Cardinals, and it works again with the touch on the left side.
If you're Jenna Spadafora, you have to continue to go to Alex Filling. That's now 10 kills, the first person all match long who has reached double-figure kills, and you're starting to see a glimpse of the Alex Filling from the 2013 season when she was first-team All-MAC.
An attack into the net from Jordan Smith on the left side. Jessica Lindsay was there to block if the Cardinals needed it, but the attack went into the net. As Melva Smith now checking in for Jordan Williams on the Eastern Michigan side. And this is her first action of the game as well.
That last kill by Alex Filling gives her a double-double, 1 of 9 on the season. That's 10 kills and 11 digs. The last time Eastern Michigan and Ball State played was another one of her double-doubles when she had 13 kills and 13 digs.
Her first attack of the night goes for a kill, and now she checks out. Melva Smith did her job for the Eagles and cut the Cardinals' lead to 4. Dory Harrison back in the game for the Eagles. Back serving. Filling up through the middle. Schreiner bump set to Filling, who finds herself another kill on the left side. And it seems that Filling has found something on that left side of the Eastern Michigan team, as Katie Vasilakis will continue her streak. Although she's not at the libero position, she is checking into this set for serving purposes for the Cardinals. She's played in every set this season for Ball State, although most of those have been at the libero position. Periner's tip on the left side for Eastern Michigan finds the Cardinals floor.
And Corey, I'm still kind of confused on that, the coaching change from Steve Shondell of taking Katie Vasilakis out of the libero position. It's not like she was making many mistakes. She was doing a good job in the back row. But like we said earlier, it could be more of trying to get Lauren Schreiner some more experience as a libero heading into next year.
Kelly Hopkins' attack in the middle finds the back line for the kill. 15-10, the Ball State Cardinals, as you can see, dropped the first 2 sets to Eastern Michigan, 25-21 and 25-12. Trying to find their rhythm back here in set number 3 as Alex Filling's serve goes into the middle of the net.
One of very few mistakes tonight for Alex Filling, as she's really been on a tear, doing a nice job on both offensively and defensively.
Filling attacking-wise, 11 kills to only 2 errors on 29 attacks. Good for a .31 hitting percentage. Kelly Hopkins, the middle blocker, finds success on the right side for the Cardinals. And this has been the Achilles heel for Kelly Hopkins this season. Is back serving, but she gets another ace with the cross-court service.
Just a miscommunication there for the Eastern Michigan back row. Both of the 2 players in the back row thought the other one was going to go get it, and they both stood there and watched the Kelly Hopkins serve go right down in between them.
And the first-year head coach Kimmy Olsen will take another timeout for Eastern Michigan. As you see, Steve Shondell has to be happy with the Ball State Cardinals' effort so far in set number 3. Made some lineup changes, and they paid off as the Cardinals have a 17-11 lead right now.
And even though Ball State went down 2 sets to none early, we've seen this a lot from the Cardinal team this year, is they get behind early, but they come back, they're able to tie it up at 2-2, and in some cases even come back and win 3 sets to 2. So when you're being coached by the mastermind that Steve Shondell is, you're never out of a match.
And Ball State Sports Link. Since 2009, Noah, you and I are both a part of SportsLink, a great organization bringing you this broadcast here on ESPN3, all student production. Besides the producer, Chris Taylor and Alex Cartman, just a great organization here at Ball State to get students immersive learning experience and really live production experience as well. Ball State SportsLink, only here at Ball State University, as the teams come back out onto the floor. An attack on the right side goes down the line for the kill. 17-12, Ball State leads by 5. Spatafora with a quick hit over, but in that case, it was because it was 3 passes on the Ball State side, but this time Katie Krasowski gets the kill on the Eagles side. After the Kimmy Olsen timeout, looks like the Eagles are coming back And if they would win this set, it would be a straight set victory here in Worthen Arena. Ball State has only been swept this season 7 times. They have swept 6 opponents of their own. 18-13, Ball State leads by 5. Alyssa Davis back in at that setter position for Eastern Michigan. An attack from the back row, and it's Alex Filling who continues her success for the Ball State offense. And why not continue to go to her if you're Jenna Spadafora?
Absolutely. She's been by far the best attacker that Ball State's had tonight. As you see, a great set from Spadafora. Filling does a nice job of coming from the back row, which we've seen multiple times already tonight.
Now on the right side, Cassie Hott with the kill for Eastern Michigan. And Alex Filling with that last kill, her 12th match of the year with at least 10 kills for the season, which just shows her success so far this year for the Cardinals. Meg Starling in the middle, unable to get a solid touch on it, and it was blocked by 2 Eastern Michigan players at the net. Katie Krasowski back to serve, 10 aces on the season coming into tonight. Meg Starling again in the middle, and it's again blocked by Kelsey Jones, the middle blocker for the Eagles.
Starling had a lot of success early here in set number 3. She had 2 kills on 2 attacks, and that time she tried to finesse it, didn't really attack it very hard. It got blocked at the net for her first error of the night.
You see there a substitution change for Steve Shondell, putting Emily Holland, the freshman middle blocker, into the game for Meg Starling after 2 consecutive attacking errors. Cassie Hott on the right side. Emily Holland brings a little more power with her attack from that middle blocker position. And Jenna Spadafora likes the middle blocker attack right now, as Emily Holland able to put it right back over on Eastern Michigan's side for the Cardinals' point.
That was a crucial point there for Ball State as Eastern Michigan was starting to creep back. They got within 3 points, and Holland on her first possession of the match comes in. She gets 3 separate attack opportunities, and on that 3rd one was able to put it down and get the kill.
Blocked at the net by Emily Holland and Alex Filling, and it would have traveled out of bounds, but it hit Kelsey Jones's leg for Eastern Michigan, which made it last touched by the Eagles, which results in a 5-point lead for the Cardinals here in set number 3. Jessica Lindsay somehow tips it over with a right-handed fist to give the Cardinals a 6-point lead, and it looks like they're closing out set number 3.
Yeah, they've done a nice job the last couple possessions of putting it down right where the defense isn't. They've done a nice job. It's not really been hard attacks, but more of finesse, being aware where the defense is standing and putting it where they're not.
Haley Balmer finds her 24th service error of the season, which is not necessarily a good stat for the Cardinals, but finds herself up there atop this team with Kelly Hopkins. The attack travels long from Filling to give the Eagles another point. Schreiner bumps set to Filling. They continue to go to her, do the Cardinals. Now Perriner, great attack, great save. Up against the score table. Dory Harrison had to adjust to that attack. Great placement by Jenna Spadafora on the quick hit for the Cardinals. 23-18. The Cardinals lead by 5.
And that's just all about awareness for the senior Jenna Spadafora there. Eastern Michigan was in a little bit of a scramble as they had to hit the ball over the net, and the defenders were in a little bit of a scramble, did a nice job, put it right down the heart of the Eastern Michigan defense.
Back set from Rajewski, and it finds Kelsey Jones, who just tips it over the hands of the 2 blockers at the net for the Eastern Michigan points. An update in Toledo, Ohio, 8-4 in set number 3. Toledo leads by 4 over Central Michigan, which, as we've talked about all match, Eastern Michigan needs to win this match and tomorrow's match, and they need Central Michigan to lose both if they want a bid in the Mid-American Conference Tournament. 24-19 as the fans arise on their feet here in Worthen Arena for set point. The first set point of the match for the Cardinals. Great dig in the back row. Herriner pushes it to the right side down the line, but able to collect it were the Cardinals, but now an attack sails wide right from Alex Filling. Still on their feet are the Worthen Arena fans, except for the section right behind Eastern Michigan's bench, where they have a decent crowd out here tonight in Worthen Arena. To watch this match as Kelly Hopkins finishes set number 3 and gives the Ball State Cardinals a 25-20 victory in set number 3 for the Cardinals. And that will force a set number 4 here in Worthen Arena. Eastern Michigan leads 2-1 for the match. When we come back, we will have set number 4 action for you right here on ESPN3.
And as the clock ran down, I sank the jumper. And took the big trophy home.
And Aunt Jane.
I guess I did all right. But look at them. Cradle of coaches, Hall of Famers.
And Dad ran in the Olympic trials.
Your cousin played in the Sweet 16. And how about the College World Series? That was awesome. If only I can. You both can. I'm already proud of you. Now, who gets these?
Me!
The Mid-American Conference. Generations of champions since 1946.
Welcome back to Worthen Arena, where the Eastern Michigan Eagles drop set number 3 and give the chance for the Ball State Cardinals to battle back in front of their home fans here in Worthen Arena. Eastern Michigan definitely needs to possibly get a bid in the Mid-American Conference Tournament, as you're taking a look at the highlights from the first 3 sets, and specifically set number 3. Some lineup changes made from Steve Shondell. Lauren Schreiner in the libero position, as you see her in these highlights in the red jersey. But it was Alex Filling who continued to produce on the offensive end.
Yeah, Alex Filling was really the difference in why Ball State has not been swept tonight. Did a tremendous job in set number 3, coming in, getting a lot of attacks. And I think the biggest storyline for me is in the first 2 sets, Ball State had a combined 16 kills between the 2 sets, and in set number 3 alone, they had 17 kills on just 35 attempts, a .314 attacking percentage, where they were below 100 all match long.
And as the players make their way to the floor to start off set number 4, the Ball State Cardinals, what did they do different in set number 3 that really you didn't see in those first 2 sets to give them the 25-20 victory?
I think it was Jenna Spadafora really taking control of the game, did a nice job of knowing, being aware of where the defense was at. She had a couple kills of her own where she was able to quick tap it over the net. She did a nice job of setting up Alex Filling, and Alex Filling went on a tear, and it was more of Ball State having control and not allowing Eastern Michigan to go on as many runs.
Well, the Ball State Cardinals will have to come back from 2 sets down if they want a match victory here, as Jenna Spadafora with the quick hit over to start off set number 4 right for the Ball State Cardinals. Ball State, no stranger to coming back from 2 sets down, though, as they did it twice earlier in the year against New Mexico and IPFW. A block at the net for Mackenzie Kitchell gives the Cardinals another point. And in set number 3, Eastern Michigan started off strong, but Ball State battled back. We saw set number 1, Ball State started off stronger, but Eastern Michigan came back. How important do you think it is to start off strong here in set number 4 if you're the Cardinals or the Eagles?
Well, it's crucial, especially for the Cardinals, and I think they have more momentum going their way. Despite trailing 2 sets to 1 right now, they won big in set number 3. Did a nice job of coming back from halftime. They made adjustments, played a much better set than they did in the previous 2, and you can see that here early on in set number 4. Momentum shifting more their way.
Mackenzie Kitchell hit the antenna on the left side of the attack. And it's right back tied at 2. Kelly Hopkins back in at that middle blocker position, and she finishes it right through the middle of the Eastern Michigan defense. We saw her leave extended periods of time for the Cardinals in set number 3 in favor of Meg Starling and also Emily Holland, 2 freshmen. But Kelly Hopkins, the senior leader for this Ball State team, as Perinar with the left-sided attack, cross court for the kill. And we've talked about how Ball State wants a balanced attack this season. And then through the first 2 sets, we didn't see much of it. And Jenna Spadafora seems to be chipping in on the offensive end for the Cardinals as of late, especially here to start off set number 4.
Well, this is when Spadafora is at her best. Through the first 2 sets, she only had 2 kills, and now her total's up to 6. So she's had 4 in just a little bit over a set. She's done a tremendous job of being aware of the defense, and she's been more of an aggression mode here as of late.
Great attack with a lot of power from Katie Krasowski right in the middle for the Eagles. Substitution, Alyssa Davis, the number 2 setter for this Eastern Michigan team, in for Mallory Rajeski. Davis is back to serve. Shiner trouble handling that serve. Great attack on the right side by Cassie Hott. Into the hands of the Cardinals blocker and drops down on the Cardinals side for the Eagles point. Eastern Michigan with this 2-setter system. As we've mentioned, Alyssa Davis in right now. We've also seen Mallory Rajeski, who is listed as the starter. But Alyssa Davis is a senior on this team and with a lot of experience. Her best season, though, was as a freshman when she averaged 7.73 assists per set. Emily Holland finishes it for the Cardinals and ties set number 4 up at 5. Bailey Bomber, as we've seen her in as that defensive specialist for the Cardinals several times tonight, back to serve. Almost a block at the net for the Cardinals, but Cassie Hott continues her success on the offensive end. You see here, Alex Filling and Emily Holland were there, but Emily Holland just a tad too late to not get to that attack.
That last kill by Cassie Hott was her 13th of the match, which is just 2 away from her career high, previously set against this Ball State team at Ypsilanti earlier this year.
Jessica Lindsay, a great attack on the right side. Lindsay, a sophomore on this team that really Steve Shondell often brings in for a lot of energy. And she gives that on that great right-handed swing there. Going right back with the service error is Bailey Bomber. Katie Krasowski, a lot of success on the offensive end for the Eagles. And a block at the net for Alex Filling. Travels out of bounds, and Eastern Michigan picks up the point to give themselves a 2-point lead.
A nice set there over to Cassie Hott, now her 14th kill of the night.
As you said, closing in on that career high number that she set previously against Ball State. Lindsay's attack sails long, and wouldn't be surprised to see Steve Shondell call a timeout, as he does. 9-6, Eastern Michigan leads by 3 in set number 4, and Eastern Michigan stringing points together to give themselves that 3-point lead, as Ball State got out to the early advantage here in set number 4, but Eastern Michigan still has that desperation in them and definitely don't want to give up set number 4 and even let Ball State have that hope of a set 5.
You really can't let Ball State get that hope, and you nailed it on the head saying that, because Ball State, once they get momentum going, they're tough to stop, especially when they're here at Worthen Arena. We've seen it, we've talked about it before. Numerous times this year, Ball State gets down. They start off sets not very well. They get behind 2-0, and then they storm back, and sometimes they come back and win 3-2. They already took set number 3. They had an early lead in set number 4, and so Eastern Michigan, it was crucial for them to get those points back and take a 3-point lead here, because if you're Eastern Michigan and you allow Ball State to get more momentum and then eventually close out set number 4, it'd be troubling going into set 5.
And taking a look at some upcoming ESPN3 broadcasts, including tomorrow night, we will be here in Worthen Arena against Central Michigan, and we've mentioned that that one has more implication on the Mid-American Conference tournament. Women's basketball, men's basketball, as both of those teams are in action tonight. Women's basketball in Charlotte, men's basketball at Bradley. But as you see the lineup of games there, all ESPN3 broadcast. Back in action here after the timeout as Kelly Hopkins' attack finds the antenna on the right side. And we mentioned that hope that the Ball State Cardinals would have if they force a set number 5. They have not lost a 5-set match here in Worthen Arena this year. We mentioned earlier they have only lost one match here total, and that was against Western Michigan in 4 sets a few weeks ago, about a month ago. 11-6, Eastern Michigan with the 5-point lead. Bump set from Spadafora, finds Filling. Filling continues her success from set number 3, and she was one of the most important pieces of set number 3 for the Cardinals. A great attack, just barely sneaking in on the right side of Eastern Michigan's defense. Attack into the antenna on the left side. And we've seen that twice now for the Cardinals in the last few points. Kelly Hopkins had one on the right side and now Filling on the left.
As successful as Filling has been, I think Spadafora needs to try to separate it out, be more balanced, because 35 attacks on the night now for Filling, and the next closest Mackenzie Kitchell at 19. If you're the Eastern Michigan defense, at this point you know it's going to Filling almost every time.
Bailey Bomber in the back row, a change of pace, and she gets the kill. It was Kelsey Jones at the net, was unable to cover it after the great block.
Bailey Bomber's role has really changed over the year. To start the season, she was an attacker, a front row player only. Started the season, the very first match of the year, had 15 kills, and now she's been more of a back row player. You don't see her at all in the front row, but that was just a little bit of a glimpse of the front row player she can be, as she was able to get the kill from the back row.
Devin Murray's attack dug out by Vasilakis. Once again, not at the libero position, and a back row attack from Filling. Does not find Eastern Michigan side. Dory Harrison back to serve for the Eagles. Kitchell on the left side. We haven't seen her attack much for the Cardinals in set number 4 or 3. Perriner unable to connect as Hopkins sends it into the hands of Kelsey Jones, and it finds the Eastern Michigan side for the Ball State Cardinals point.
I think Hopkins can really emerge to be that 1B the rest of the way. You have Alex Filling, who has 13 kills. The next highest is Kelly Hopkins with 6. She's done a nice job here in the last couple sets of Spadafora when she sets her up, taking advantage of all of her opportunities.
A service error from Hopkins. Eastern Michigan leads by 5. They're doing what they need to get into the Mid-American Conference tournament. They need 2 wins this weekend, and they need some help as well. Central Michigan needs to lose twice if Eastern Michigan is going to get in. And Toledo, at Toledo, is leading currently 22-19 in set number 3. And that is split 1 apiece so far in the match as Steve Shondell takes the timeout for the Ball State Cardinals. And for the Cardinals, they find themselves trailing by 6. What needs to change here in set number 4 if they want to come back and get a victory here tonight and force a set 5 to possibly get a victory in this match?
Well, here in set number 4, they're doing a lot of what they did in set number 1 and 2 and just causing too many unforced errors. You really haven't put much pressure on the Eastern Michigan defense. They haven't had to do a whole lot because Ball State, on their attacks and even on some of their serves, they're having unforced errors, and Eastern Michigan's defense isn't having to do much. When Ball State was at their best in set number 3, Spadafora was setting up Filling, and she was attacking, doing a nice job of putting it in play, and Eastern Michigan's defense was having a lot of reception errors, but they haven't had much here in set number 4 because Ball State hasn't given them the opportunity to do so.
15-9, Eastern Michigan leads by 6. And taking a look at Jenna Spadafora, we've talked about her prowess at the setter position for the Cardinals, but also gets it done in the hitting category as well. 8th in the MAC in hitting percentage, and then we've mentioned 144 kills on the season. Ranks 3rd overall nationally, only trailing Sarah Bell from Southern Miss with 146 kills on the season, and Audrey Marcellus of Austin Pay with 147.
I think the story that really is more important there is not necessarily the 144 kills being 3rd among setters, but her hitting percentage of over 300 as a setter. That's really tremendous because it shows she knows when to attack and knows when to set up her teammates. She's ranked in the top 10 in the MAC in hitting percentage.
And she also finds the open areas in the opponent's defense. As you just saw, Mackenzie Kitchell terminate the point for the Cardinals to cut the lead to 5. Spadafora's serve creeps over the net after hitting the top. And an attacking error from Stacy Perinar. It went outside of the antenna on the left side. Spadafora, the best server. She did collect a string of points for the Cardinals in set number 3, trying to do it again to get them back in it here in set 4. Kitchell's attack on the left side. Finds Corinne Smith in the back row, but unable to handle it. Point Cardinals. They still have life here in Worthen Arena, trying to force a set 5.
That's now 3 straight points for Ball State after getting behind 15-9. They're now within 3, making it 15-12. And like you said, it's been with Jenna Spadafora at serving, and she's really a do-it-all player for the Cardinals.
Perinar's left side attack, dug out by Kitchell. Great effort on the Ball State defensive side, but last touch by Alex Filling. And a great attack from Eastern Michigan gives them a 4-point cushion. And once again at setter is Alyssa Davis. Just checked in for Mallory Rajeski. Perinar has to send a free ball over. Kitchell's attack dug out by Smith, a great libero for Eastern Michigan team. Perinar, great placement, but dug out by Schreiner. Out of bounds, the attack goes from the right side, and all started from a great dig from Lauren Schreiner, hustling up to the front left side of the Ball State defense for that dig.
Yeah, Ball State owes all that point to Lauren Schreiner. Did a tremendous job. She was in the back row. Eastern Michigan read the Ball State defense, put it where there was nobody at, but Schreiner comes running up, a diving dig sent it over the net, and eventually Ball State got the point.
That attack from Krasowski goes into the net, and Ball State steadily creeping their way back in to set 4. The Eagles only with a 2-point advantage now. As Bailey Bomber's service goes too long to the right for the service error, and you know Steve Shondell's not happy with that, not only with the service error, but at the critical point in the match that it comes.
Well, that's 2 opportunities in a row from Bailey Bomber where she's committed a service error.
And they share service errors. Back at a 2-point advantage for Eastern Michigan after Perinar had success so far tonight with her service, but that time gives Ball State the free point. Great attack on the right side by Hott. 2 blockers there for the Cardinals, but she put it in between them. Eastern Michigan can taste the victory here in Worthen Arena, as they're only 7 points away in set 4. Great joust at the net. Jessica Lindsay puts it home with a right-handed swing.
You can feel the momentum a little bit for Ball State going more towards their side. They've gotten a few points now. They're within 2, and now they just need to have a breakout where they get a few points in a row.
Katie Vasilakis, the senior libero, but was moved to a defensive specialist as Lauren Schreiner has taken that libero spot. As Kelly Hopkins, great placement after the bad pass off the Vasilakis serve. Ball State battling back in front of their home crowd here in Worthen Arena as Steve Shondell claps his hands to encourage his team. Attack sails wide right. All tied at 18 here in set 4, and Kimmy Olsen, the first-year head coach for the Eastern Michigan Eagles, takes a timeout. Ball State battling back, just trying to force a set 5, and it looks like they're right back in it here in set 4 after Eastern Michigan has had the lead and mostly the momentum for a large part of set number 4.
Yeah, absolutely. Steve Shondell called a timeout when the Cardinals were trailing 15-9, and now that was a 9-3 run for the Cardinals. They're able to tie it up. They've got all the momentum on their side towards the end of set number 4. He did a great job calling that timeout, making some adjustments, and you really haven't seen Ball State make too many errors since then. A service error and maybe 1 or 2 attack errors, but really they've been playing a great, clean set number 4 here recently.
And Steve Shondell just trying to encourage his team to keep up the momentum. Once again, the Mid-American Conference tournament seedings starts next Thursday and goes through next Sunday, does the Mid-American Conference tournament. But as you see there, Eastern Michigan outside looking in at this point. They need 2 wins this weekend. That would include tonight, and they need 2 Central Michigan losses. And as we speak, Central Michigan just took set number 3 over Toledo in Toledo, Ohio, to give them a 2-1 advantage in that match. If Central Michigan would win that match, it would not matter what Eastern Michigan does this weekend. Great attack on the right side by Cassie Hott, who has played so well tonight, and that is now her new career high, 16 kills. Her last career high against the Ball State Cardinals earlier this season.
So now in 8 sets against this Ball State Cardinal team, that's now 31 kills for Cassie Hall.
Scramble for the ball on the Cardinal side. Filling left side of the attack. Spadafora, great placement for the Cardinals in the back right corner of the Eagles side. And every time you think Eastern Michigan gets a little momentum, Ball State continues to battle back, trying not to drop this match here in Worthen Arena in 4 sets.
And the core awareness of Jenna Spadafora is second to none. She went up to block that, and before she even came down to her feet, she was able to put that ball in the back right corner where nobody was standing for Eastern Michigan.
Devin Murray able to terminate the point for Eastern Michigan on the left side of the attack. Mackenzie Kitchell on the Cardinals still battling in set 4 as they trail by 1. Kitchell, left side attack, dug out by Harrison. Devin Murray finishes it. Kitchell was the only blocker there for the Cardinals, and Murray went down the line.
Huge point here for Ball State, trailing 21-19, only 4 points away for Eastern Michigan to make it match point. It's crucial to get this point and make sure Eastern Michigan doesn't go up by 3.
Scramble for the ball on Eastern Michigan's side, and Perinar has to attack on the left side outside of the antenna. No chance after the pass that she was given, and the Cardinals collect the point. 21-20, Eastern Michigan leads by 1 now as Carly Capello checking in for the Ball State Cardinals to serve. She takes out Kelly Hopkins. Hopkins has struggled serving tonight. She has 2 service aces, but also 2 service errors. And this time, Devin Murray on the right side, unable to dig it out, was Carly Capello in the back right section of the Cardinals defense. 3 points away are the Eagles from keeping their Mid-American Conference tournament hopes alive. Corinne Smith to serve, the libero. Spadafora had to run to the right side for that set. And now a lift on the left side by Eastern Michigan. It was Mallory Rajeski, the setter, who is back in for the Eagles. 22-21, with Jenna Spadafora, the best server, back for the Cardinals. Devin Murray's attack sails wide left. She tried to argue for the tip, but it was not granted.
Just wasn't a very good set there from Rajeski. Murray had to step back and try to bring her arm back to follow through, and when she did so, she ended up arcing it way over the Ball State defense, and now we got a tie game.
That service hits the top of the net, but gets over. A double block on the right side for the Cardinals. Jessica Lindsay and Emily Holland were there. A timeout by Kimmy Olsen, the first-year head coach of Eastern Michigan, as Ball State has battled all the way back in set number 4 and are now leading 23-22, trying to get it done in front of their home fans here in Worthen Arena.
And Cora, we've talked about this multiple times. Eastern Michigan could not allow Ball State to have any momentum whatsoever, because once they do that, Ball State in front of their home crowd is very, very good. They've done a nice job coming back. They're about to close out set number 4, making it 2-2 going into set number 5. And when you get to set number 5, anything can happen.
And isn't it interesting how the hopes of Eastern Michigan rely on this game and the game in Toledo, and as it seems that the Ball State Cardinals are playing better, so does Central Michigan, and Eastern Michigan needs Central Michigan to lose. Central Michigan leading at Toledo 2-1, and they lead 5-3 in set number 4. So it seems like these games are corresponding with the hopes of Eastern Michigan's tournament, Mid-American Conference tournament appearance. 23-22, and Jenna Spadafora will be serving for the Cardinals coming out of the timeout.
We both were very confused in set number 3 when Steve Shondell took Katie Vasilakis out of the libero jersey and put in Lauren Schreiner, made a couple changes, put in Emily Holland. There was just a few things where we didn't know what was quite going on, and yet Steve Shondell knows exactly what he's doing. Ball State's played tremendously in the last 2 sets, and now they have a chance to possibly force a 5th set.
Great set on her knees. Jenna Spadafora able to get it off. Attack in the middle from Krasowski. Goes into the hands of the blocker and travels out of bounds, though, for the Eastern Michigan point, as Krasowski with the fist pump urging her team on. As you see, great dig and set, but to no avail for the Cardinals. Alyssa Davis back to serve for Eastern Michigan. Back set to Holland, who sends it in the middle of Eastern Michigan's defense. Fans in Worthen Arena rise to their feet. 24-23, Ball State has set number 4 within their grasp. Bailey Bomber to serve. Picked up, hot on the left side, dug out by Schreiner. Bomber sets this one to Filling, and her attack hits the top of the net, and it may have just given it the bump up it needed for Eastern Michigan to travel out of bounds. That was all tied at 24.
That was really a great thought there by Filling, though. She went to the opposite side, went cross court with the attack. She put it right where the defense wasn't, but because of it hitting the net, it just hit in the spot right over the out of bounds line.
And now Eastern Michigan, with the miscommunication on the Ball State side, has their first match point. They need this victory if they want to keep their Mid-American Conference tournament hopes alive. And now with Stacy Perinar, their leader, back to serve. Bomber struggles with it. Filling into the net, and Eastern Michigan takes this match in 4 sets here in Worthen Arena, and they will keep their Mid-American Conference tournament hopes alive, just as we thought. The Ball State Cardinals had set point 24-23. Eastern Michigan responds with 3 points and creates the victory here tonight in Worthen Arena. 26-24, set 4, and Eastern Michigan with their hopes still alive. We'll be back for end of the game analysis after this on ESPN3.
No matter how stressful my day is, and to see her smile, because you know that's the purest of happiness.
You gotta get touchdowns, right? Throw, catch, ball security.
You can't let your guard down because your opponent is good, that we have on our schedule.
Because we are modest, they think we can't be unforgiving. Because we're known for our manners, they think we can't reign supreme. Because we're not fueled by the spotlight, they think we won't steal it. Because we work out on the frozen tundra, they think we won't bring the heat. You know what we say? Nothing at all. Here on our turf, on our field, we keep our heads down and our eyes up. And no matter what we face, we answer with sweat. Because action speaks louder than words.
We're back in Worthen Arena, where the Eastern Michigan Eagles pull off the upset over the Ball State Cardinals in Worthen Arena, and Eastern Michigan keeps their Mid-American Conference hopes alive. And Noah, really a big match for Eastern Michigan. We've away from the scoring in Toledo. They need Central Michigan to lose that match and a match tomorrow here in Worthen Arena. But talk about Eastern Michigan and just the resilience that they showed tonight in this match.
Well, we talked about it all night long, and it was kind of that Ball State really didn't have a whole lot to play for. Eastern Michigan was in desperation mode. They needed to win both matches this weekend. They needed Central Michigan to drop both matches, so they don't control their destiny at all. The only thing they could control was coming out inside Worthen Arena, a very hostile place, and coming out and performing, and they did just that. They were phenomenal all night long, especially in sets 1 and 2. They dropped set number 3, but 4 they came back. They were able to come from behind, get 3 straight points at the end to close out the match.
And with this 4-set win, What do you expect from the Cardinals tomorrow night?
They're going to be able to rebound. They know it's senior night. They have 6 seniors on this team. A lot of people who have played a ton in a Cardinal uniform. They're going to want to send each other out on a positive note on their senior night. And more importantly, it's more momentum and more confidence heading into the MAC tournament, because if you're Ball State, you already know you have a spot locked up for Athens next week.
And as the Ball State players sign autographs, they will be looking for a win tomorrow night. Tonight, though, Eastern Michigan knocks off the Ball State Cardinals in 4 sets here in Worthen Arena to give the Cardinals their 2nd loss of the season here at home. For everyone back in the truck, every camera on site tonight, and for Noah Reed, I'm Corey Stace saying so long from Worthen Arena, where the final score is 3-1 Eastern Michigan in this women's volleyball match. To watch this entire game on replay, as well as other games on our family of ESPN networks, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. Thanks everybody for watching. This has been a presentation of ESPN.